Professor Mamo Muchi, a Pan-African scholar at the Tshwane University of Technology, has kept a close eye at the developments in the country. He now joins us via Zoom to update us on the latest from Tigray and Ethiopia as a whole. A very good evening to you, Professor. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Globe.
Thank you very much again for inviting me. I really appreciate that you focus on real problems in Africa that we need to solve.
Indeed,
yes,
Professor.
Thank you so much.
As we've seen, and it's always a great pleasure, inviting you and being joined in conversation with you, and especially around the Eritrean conflict. As we've seen, Eritrean forces have started withdrawing from the Tigray region. I mean, could the Eritrean authorities have succumbed to pressure from the United States, from Germany and the other G7 countries? And if so, could this be a reason to celebrate? Could this signal an end to this ongoing conflict?
Thank you for asking. Can I just tell you one thing which is quite remarkable for you that nobody maybe knows? This is what the president in Eritrea, Isaias Afwerki, said. We can assure you we will face the future together, Ethiopia and Eritrea. We'll work as one. From now on, we do not say Eritreans and Ethiopian people. Say there is one people, we're one people, he says. And he says again, he gave an interview in a glossy magazine on August 23 in 2007. That is the new year, the millennium year in Ethiopia. He says, you will not believe, he says, the Ethiopia is one, we're one, he says, one Ethiopia. And he also says, he declared in the front page cover, it is our persistent stance to strive for united Ethiopia. So what I don't understand is, in 1991, why they split, to be honest with you. Because they are one people, where they are united people. So what happened in this conflict now, what we heard is that the TPLF also attacked Asmara. They said there was aircraft, satellite kind of weapons. So Eritrea also entered. And I think they had an agreement, I think, between the government in Ethiopia and the Eritrean government, and they jointly did it. I think they are feeling that they are one people, one country, one army. That's the way it is happening like that now. What we don't understand now is exactly what was committed against the people in Tigray. Anything that is wrong doing against any innocent people is really something we should all reject, because it's not right. If they are doing all the massacres, the migration of people being forced to do, and all the things you heard about all this raping, many things like that, what you hear, this is very, very unacceptable. If they have done it, both the Eritrean government and the Ethiopian government, I mean the TPLF also, they are genuine. Whoever did this to commit against the people in Tigray, all of them, there must be serious investigation to make sure that whoever committed it must be taken to the rule of law and justice. That is very, very important. I sincerely appeal to all that serious study should be done. What I want the international community to do is not to interfere in the division of Ethiopia that happened in 1991 when they split Ethiopia. They created the different republics in Ethiopia. You know, sincerely, I mean, they created these ethnic divisions where there was one different constitution, different parliament, different army, all right? Different flag, many things like that, different local government. That's what we have. They have created in the different divisions in Ethiopia. And then Eritrea got split. Eritrea was part of Ethiopia, they split it. So what we need now is really in the region, some approach to create unification and some strategy to build that unification. I sincerely believe from something like from South Africa, there's a lot we can learn, because you are the most divided people. From the most divided, you created a unity pattern, a unity pathway that I think a lot of other Africans also must draw lessons from, sincerely, because this is not fair, what's happening in Ethiopia now. Genuinely, this situation where the ordinary people are suffering should not be continuing. and the international community should not interfere on how the country should be run and governed. They should interfere only to make sure justice is done, and who committed it must be known. Once this is known, action must be taken. The action is not just negative action to attack these people and arrest these people, but also to support the people who suffered. If we do something like that, then we are in the right direction. If we are interfering, using this conflict situation to try to also make external forces to interfere and do very strange divisions and so on, then it's going to be complicated. So my suggestion is that what we need in that entire region, like the SADC area or here in Southern Africa that we're thinking, even the whole of Africa, we should find ways now to come together, not to divide ourselves, to learn from each other, learn from our mistakes and so on. Sincerely speaking, Mwalimu Nyerere said Tanzania is a colonial mistake. Sincerely, he said like, what does he mean? He means that the way that the country itself, the way it's divided, is not right. So he did everything to make sure all the ethnic groups in the tribes in Tanzania, how many of them they were to be united. And then created even one language, many things like that. We need to
Professor,
work on that kind of
we've seen Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed admitting for the first time that troops from neighboring Eritrea had actually entered the northern region of Tigray during the conflict. So why the denials in the first place, and what could have led him, or what could have triggered him to make that admission? I mean, we are speaking of a Nobel Peace Prize recipient for having solved the long-running conflict between Ethiopia and Eritrea.
I think if he had said that, as you rightly put it, if he had said if the Eritrean troops are in Tigray and the Prime Minister said they did not enter, then that is a mistake. Then if he apologizes, we should forgive him. If he says, I made a mistake. I think if he had said now that the troops are going back, when he did not admit that they first were in, then there's definitely some challenge and problem. So we need to kind of make sure, we ask him to make sure that the real clarification, exactly what happened, must be told. Not again. You see, politics is very complicated. What is the biggest problem I see in that area now? What's going on is we don't know the.
ሁላችንም ምንጫችን ያው ዜና ነው እና ከመሪዎቹ በቀጥታ የተሰሙ ብዙ ነገሮች የሉም እና አሁን የጦርነቱ ከተጀመረ ጊዜ ጀምሮ እስካሁን ድረስ ለሚደረጉት ድርጊቶች ለሚደረጉ ውይይቶች ዋናው መነሻው ከሶስተኛ ሰው የሚገኝ ወሬ ነውና ይሄ ነው በርግጥ ተብሎ መናገር አስቸጋሪ ነገር ነው ነገር ግን እንዳልኩት
facts. The real evidence is very, very hard to know. There's so many claims by everyone. Even in the areas where, not just in Tigray, in the area where Metekel, Benishangul, Walega, all these areas where so many people are being killed now. In that area too, we don't know who is doing it exactly, because everyone claims different things. So that's why now what we need from the external world, from the human rights and others, is not to claim and do propaganda like that's what people tell them and just saying as if they are true. Is to actually try to find a way that the real truth, what is going on, is actually discovered. That's what we should do. I think that's on that support, that kind of support that the external world gives will be good, especially Africa, the African Union, South Africa. In fact, I prefer first to see if we can provide African solutions to our own problems. Even our right to make our own mistakes, we should correct it ourselves. I think it's better that way. We should have our own agency. I think that's what we should try to do. And the only thing I could recommend now is that all these claims that are being made and counterclaims, they as you rightly put it, they're quite strange. So what we should do is really find out and discover what's going on so that a real solution can come. And the solution now is to create permanent peace and stability in the area so that people can move away from all these conflicts that have been going on, where ethnic division, tribal division, all these things, from that situation, now new relationships should be formed.
And speaking of solutions, Professor Muchi, what do you suggest both countries should do, Ethiopia and Eritrea, and what do you suggest the role should be of the international community, in particular the G7 countries? What should they do in order to resolve the conflict?
My suggestion, to be honest with you, is I actually written, I wish I could send you the article I wrote. I said we should, when Dr. Abiy came and he said he wanted peace and reconciliation between Eritrea and Ethiopia, because over the last, from 1991 to 2018, there was a war and no peace kind of relationship. Division and so on. It's very complicated. And if you notice, the division also was done very badly. For example, there's a port called Asad. In that port, over 90% of the people who live there are called the Afars. These Afars live in the Ethiopia part. And even a lot of people said, even Isaiah said, Asad should also be Ethiopia. You know, remember, Ethiopia is over 110 million people. To not have any port is dangerous, because if you have too many people and you don't have relationship with the sea, the air, the space, and the land in a very systematic way, it has a climate impact. It also creates that. So we were told that even Isaiah was not against it. At that time, we were told that the government that was running Ethiopia at that time, Meles, he opposed it. He said, let Eritrea take it. So what we have is a very complicated situation. From 1991 to now, 2018, what was created? A no war peace. What was created in 1998 to 2000? A war on the border between Tigray and Eritrea. Because all has been like that. Now we need to stop it. What we should do is unity. I suggested there are 4 options we have. We have confederation, we have federation, we have a united government, and we have the 2 separate states. My vote, to be honest with you, is if they all agree, the best thing for Dr. Abiy to get a Nobel Prize is not just to create reconciliation between Eritrea. It's for the unity, for bringing the unity in the region as a whole, for helping the unity of Africa, for really the unity between Eritrea and Ethiopia, because Eritrea and Ethiopia were the same people, the same country. In fact, I must tell you, my own father, when they said Eritrea and Ethiopia are divided, that's when he got ill and he passed away. I lost my father because of that. I'm sincerely telling you. This is, the entire family says that because when we grew up, Eritreans, the northern part of Eritrea came from the part of the country where I was born. Dembia, it's called. That area, that's where they went. It's all migration. We're the same people. You see, we may speak different languages. We're the same people. You see, we can't say you're Zulu, Koza, this, and divide yourselves. No, this is wrong. We should be united. So I think the unity should come. We should be not treating each other as aliens and foreigners. And that division has been happening. It happened because of colonial. Even the name Eritrea is not created by, it was not a local name. It was a colonial name. That was they brought it. A colonialist gave that name. I'm sincerely telling you. It's a very complicated situation. That whole area should have been, together. One area, one, not just in that whole region. We should not have Djibouti with so many, military bases from some 8, 9 countries have military bases. In Djibouti, in a small country with less than 1 million people. Then you have Somalia, they are divided. Can you imagine? And then you have Eritrea and Ethiopia divided. That whole area as a whole, the region is so divided. There must be now a sincerely, very strong effort to try to create unity among them and get them out of this conflict situation.
And the region so divided to a point where, some of the brutality of some of the attacks on Tigrayans has only heightened, separatist sentiments. We've seen some civilians saying that they want independence more than ever.
This is, to be honest with you, that is completely wrong. You know why? Tigray independent doesn't make sense. They only have mountains. They don't have proper land. What would they feed themselves with the people? I'm sincerely telling you, they cannot be separate. the Tigrayans. I think this Tigrayan leadership, not the people of Tigray. I think the people of Tigray, there's a referendum and there's a good discussion like this. They will definitely be not separate from Ethiopia. They would know that they would not want to be separated from Eritrea. Eritrean, Ethiopian, Tigrayans, they have families for almost 20 years from 1998 because of that war. Families were divided. Husbands, wives, children were not able to see each other. This is so wrong. So I think the current Tigrayan leadership, the so-called Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, their entire politics is horrible. Honestly, it's like apartheid you destroyed here in South Africa. It's worse than apartheid, what they created in Ethiopia. So now they are saying that if they are not going to have control of the country, they will, and the way they are doing it by dividing and creating ethnic cleansing in areas like called the Amharas. They killed so many people, they said. There's a study that was done. I wish I could send it to you. The number of people that were killed during the period when they were running, they said about something like 8 million. I couldn't believe it. That's what, and there's another young man who wrote a book on it. It's fascinating, it's amazing. It's just scary to hear these kind of things. So I think this idea that they want to divide themselves, which they are saying, I completely agree with you, that's what they are saying, is wrong. Okay. It's completely wrong, it's unacceptable, it does not make sense. We need unity. Division is not right. Not just for for just the regions, but all of us in Africa. We have the African Union. We should really work on it systematically to create peoples to unite. The real values of social solidarity, social justice, really, human rights, civil rights of Africans, and owning the rich wealth of Africa, where all Africans will be rich. Trust me. Okay. There will be no problem if we know how to do it and how to manage it, how to run it, and not use conflict, not buy weapons from outside to kill each other. No. We should stop that.
Indeed. Professor Mochi, great chatting to you. Thank you so much for your insights. We do appreciate your time.